Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about the elements of life and things that are necessary for life. This is topic 1.2 in the AP Biology course and exam description. Okay, so an easy way to remember the elements that are necessary for life is simply to remember this mnemonics, NCHOPS. And so NCHOP stands for nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. NCHOPS. Those are the six most common elements found in living systems. So let's talk about them. This is taken from your book. So here's a chart. And if you look at these 1, 2, 3, 4, the top four there are 96% of our body mass, and that includes water. So 96% of our body mass comes from four of these elements. So we have oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. All right, so we're going to spend a lot of time talking about carbon because carbon is considered the backbone of biological molecules. So carbon is very versatile, so it can form many different types of molecular skeletons. It's called the skeleton because it kind of makes up the backbone, so it's the basis for everything. Alright, so carbon has 4 valence electrons, so it can form 4 bonds, and it can have 4 single bonds like in methane, 1 double bond and 2 singles, as we find in ketones. 1 triple bond and 1 single bond. It can form 2 double bonds like in carbon dioxide, and it can form rings, and we'll see that in cholesterol. So carbon is very versatile. Alright, and here we have, let's find a good spot for me. Here we go. Methane with the single bonds, carbon dioxide with the double bonds, and these are some rings as in cholesterol. Alright, next. Hydrogen. Hydrogen has 1 valence electron, and hydrogen is pretty special if you remember that from the periodic table, so it can form only 1 bond. It's ubiquitous in biological molecules, which means you can find it almost everywhere. Alright, so hydrogen is so ubiquitous or common, it's not drawn in for a structure. So if you need an extra, you're looking at a molecule and you think something's missing, there should be something there, more often than not it's hydrogen. It just kind of gets left out because nobody wants to draw like 36 or 38 hydrogen atoms. Alright, so next is oxygen, and we're going to put sulfur in with this one. Oxygen and sulfur both have 6 valence electrons. So they only need to form 2 more bonds, right? They want 8 electrons in their outer shell, so they're going to form 2 more bonds. Typically they'll form either 1 double bond, like in carbon dioxide, or 2 single bonds. So here's an example of oxygen forming a double bond and oxygen forming a single bond. So here's a double bond, and here's a single. Alright, so this is a glucose molecule, and sulfur has a special kind of bond called disulfide bridges, which are 2 single bonds, and we'll talk about disulfide bridges when we talk about protein structures later. Alright, so 1 double bond, carbon dioxide, or 2 single bonds like in the sugar that you see here, 1 on that sugar backbone and 1 on the hydrogen. Alright, nitrogen and phosphorus. Both of them have 5 valence electrons, so they can form 3 more bonds to complete their valence shell. So they can form a triple bond. You don't really see that in phosphorus, but in N2 for nitrogen gas, which is 80% of our atmosphere, the 2 nitrogen atoms are held together with the triple bond that you can see in the picture there. Alright, and you can also see nitrogen forming 1 double and a single bond, since that adds up to 3, as found in amino acids. Phosphorus forms 1 double and 2 single bonds in a phosphate group, or either of them can just form 3 single bonds Probably the most common example of this would be ammonia. All right, next. Where are these elements found? That's probably the most important thing to understand, is where are these elements found? So specifically, where are they found? 3 of them: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, are found in all biological molecules, in carbs, fats, proteins, and nucleic acids. All of those have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Sulfur is found primarily in proteins. Phosphorus is primarily found in nucleic acids. And nitrogen is found in both proteins and nucleic acids. All right, so just a little preview of Unit 5. Hershey and Chase did this experiment in the early 20th century where they were trying to figure out what kinds of biological molecules carried genetic information. There was a big debate. People weren't sure if it was proteins or nucleic acids. So Hershey and Chase did this experiment where they used radioactive sulfur to tag proteins, since sulfur is found mainly in proteins. And they used a different radioactive tag to tag phosphorus, since phosphorus is found in nucleic acids. And then they were able to follow what happened. They were able to determine that the genetic material was nucleic acid. So pretty cool. But that's coming up. All right. Oh, I guess I don't have another slide, and that's okay. So the elements of life, remember NCHOPS: nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. And make sure you know what kind of biological molecules each of these is found in. All right, have a great day. See you next time. Bye.